Every year in the NFL, it's a new team. As far as goals go, we have one. Putting a f***ing ring on our finger.
Welcome to the Buccaneers Observer Podcast. This is Ralph Phillips.
I'm Molly Bay. How
about that? We are back. For all you that thought we were gone forever, all of our haters. No, too bad. We're back. 25 days until kickoff.
Woohoo!
How about that? Today is August 16th, 2023. Yes, the long-awaited return of the Buccaneers Observer Podcast. Now, we got to break it down for you, give our excuses why we haven't done podcasts. I don't know how people do it on such a consistent basis, other than the fact that they get paid for it. That always helps.
I guess. I don't know. It's, we had a baby. She needs things.
She is a needy baby. Now, the baby we had previously, totally different.
Way needier.
Well, she was fine as long as you were there with her. You know, this baby, no, you've got to carry her around. You've got to entertain her. She only naps for 20 minutes at a time.
No, I think the other one was needier. This one, it's just, the naps are anywhere from 20 minutes to 3 hours. So it's just hard to plan around.
Yes. But it's not just the baby. We can't blame her for everything.
Yes, we can.
We did have some health issues. Had some relatives had to come stay with us for a while because of, surgery after surgery stuff. And it just kind of threw our schedule off. And then I got sick, ended up getting strep, which really knocked me on my butt for over a week.
It's so crazy to me.
It was.
I got strep for like a year straight. I kept getting it when I was like 11, and I don't know that I've had it since then.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently with bacterial infections, you don't really build up an immunity.
Right.
But I didn't get it. He was sick as a dog, just in bed, completely.
Yeah, my throat swelled up to the point where I couldn't swallow. I ended up getting inflamed glands. I couldn't open my mouth. All the way up to my ear was swollen. It was really strange.
Now, I will say, Ralph is not, you get people who are like, oh, the man flu. No, that's me. Like, I'm the baby when I'm sick. He is not. He has very high pain tolerance. And usually it's just like, oh, I'm going to rub some dirt on it and keep going. So, for him to be in bed for a week was not like him.
Well, I had the baby at one point. I was sick for like 3 days at this point, and I had the baby, and I got one of those cameras that you can go into crevices and stuff with. It's a snake camera, and I stuck it down my throat, and I sent the video to Molly, and you could see all this infection in my throat. This was like 3 days into it, and she immediately says, "Give me that baby. I do not want you around the baby." So I gave her the baby, and I was like, all right, if I can't be around the baby, I'm just going to go into the room and try and rest this off, and ended up staying in there for a week.
Yeah. Well, apparently babies don't get strep, or they do, but they don't get the sore throat so she was fine. Yeah. And the rest of us were fine. I think the oldest brought it, neighbor had it.
Yeah.
All their kids had it. They got it. But, the adults, it was very mild. And then somehow Ralph got it. I guess our daughter brought it over, would be my thought. And, put a lot of backwash in his water.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Because we have a bad habit of drinking after each other, which was a no-no in my family. When I was growing up, you could not drink after each other. So.
Did you know that cavities are contagious? Like, you shouldn't share for that reason. Like, if you have somebody who has cavity, because it's caused by bacteria in your teeth, and then you drink or you share a drink, you can spread that bacteria
to your
that. Kids.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just a little tidbit there.
Yeah. So we want to thank everybody who's been sending us messages, asking if we're okay, if we're going to be back on and everything. But it was really Tiffany. She's the one who sent a message and said she she really likes listening to Molly's perspective. And that got Molly really, she was like, okay, let's do a podcast. Like,
Thank you, Tiffany.
Like that very same day.
Nice to be needed.
Molly was like, we should do a podcast. Like, okay, whatever it takes, man. That's it. But, it is. You're the only female podcaster that I know of for the Buccaneers. So, it does get the, what do they say? Representation matters.
I guess so. That's what they say.
Get the female perspective over here. Okay, lots of stuff has happened during the off season that we're going to cover. We're going to zip through as much stuff as we can. We're going to touch on the preseason game against the Steelers, saying we're going to miss a lot of stuff. So,
and to be clear, Molly knows nothing.
Molly has not.
It's just total news to me, whatever's going on. They say that after you have a baby, your brain shrinks. So I'm just going with that.
Wow.
So I know.
Lizard brain over here.
Did you? I know.
I had no idea.
Really? You couldn't tell?
Well, I could tell with me. The first kid, my language ability stopped. That's one of the reasons why we started podcasts, is because I was having a hard time talking because I was with the baby all the time. So I never had grown-up conversations. Mm-hmm. So, yes, my brain shrunk with the first baby. Second baby, I'm fighting through it, man. I'm going to keep my brain large. Okay, so let's see. Starting with the off season. There's been a lot of stuff that's happened, but then again, not a lot of stuff has happened. When you compare it to what's happened in the past 3 years, you can even say 4 years, this has been a very boring offseason in relation. Even when we had the year we brought back all of our starters, which was amazing in itself, that year was more exciting than what's happened in this offseason. Because I'll tell you, Todd Bowles is boring. Extremely boring.
Can I say, so he's like a combination of Lovie Smith and Major Payne. Like his voice sounds like Major Payne to me. But he's got like Lovie Smith's kind of attitude, and I can't.
If there's a monster in that closet, he's dead now. That's great. Major Payne. Great movie. Yes, and, he does coach speak. He doesn't give a lot of information. He's very curt with his stuff. He's got that monotonous speaking style. And it's something that I wish coaches would understand, and I don't know if they do or not, but, this is entertainment. Football is entertainment. And so many of them are just not good public speakers, and they don't entertain in their press conferences. Now, Bruce Arians, we've had some guys that are great. I thought that Schiano was really good at his pressers. Cotter was pretty good at his pressers. You got a lot of information from him. It was Youngry.
Raheem Morris.
Raheem Morris, he was great in his press conferences, very entertaining. And I was looking at the views on YouTube with the press conferences, and Lovie Smith, here's an NFL head coach. Rarely, Todd Bowles. That's funny. Rarely gets more than 2,000 views. This is a head coach for the NFL. The Arizona Cardinals, who have very few subscribers, very few people watch their videos at all, their head coach gets more views than Lovie Smith. Our kicker gets more views than Lovie Smith. So he's not bringing a lot of oomph to the team, and he's definitely not bringing new people in to want to hear what he has to say. So I wish he would get more, just be more dynamic, more entertaining. And it does make the off season a little boring, because that's really all you're going to get is the head coach. Now, we've got Dan Canales. He's given some interviews and press conferences, and he's great.
Can I just say, he's in that new class of coaches that look like they were hired for the ladies. So
you're not allowed to watch videos.
Into every press conference.
You could listen to the audio, and you can't watch the video. Yeah, good-looking guy. But yeah, that whole coaching tree, you got the head coach for the Rams.
Mm-hmm. Sean McVay, Matt
LaFleur, the LaFleur brothers. Yes, they're all GQ
the new
looking
trend.
Very dynamic.
It's the Ken Doll class of coaches.
Yes, the Ken Doll class of coaches. That's funny. That's what I'm going to start calling them. But he's very dynamic in his speak. He could talk. He'll talk forever. That's why the media loves him, because he gives them a lot of information. Well, he does a lot of coach speak, but he talks a lot.
Yeah.
And
so you get quotes. That's all they're there for. They want quotes.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He gives plenty of snippets. So the media loves Dave Canales.
Dave
Canales. Dan Canales?
Dave?
Dan?
D. Canales.
D. We're going to start calling him D. So we've gotten a lot of information from him, a lot of interviews, a lot of press conferences. We're starting to get press conferences with the players and all that because of preseason and practice and all that. So we really need some excitement, even with Baker Mayfield and the Trask, which the competition there has turned into much more of a competition than I expected.
Okay, can we talk about this for a second?
Yes.
I am so done with quarterback competition. Okay. Tom Brady came. It was a new era for the Bucs, and now we're back to the old era, and I'm just fatigued on it. I don't care. I don't feel like I don't know. It's just, how many quarterback competitions can we do?
Right.
How many times do we have to go through this?
Every year from
Every
here on
year,
out.
I know.
That was our price for making a deal with the devil to get Tom Brady.
I know. Yeah.
Now
that's what it was.
We're destined for quarterback competition for the rest of our life.
I know. So, either one, I'm whatever. Who wins? Who can win?
Yeah.
That's who I want to see. You hate it for Trask because, again, we've seen this before, too. A coach drafts a guy. He's going to be the quarterback of our future. New coach comes in. It's not his guy. Mm-hmm. So, he can easily get lost in that shuffle. It can end his career, frankly.
From what I hear, though, he's really, really giving it a go. He's doing a lot better in practice than Mayfield, especially with interceptions. And that's Dan Canales' big thing he's judging these guys on is turnovers. Because, he was brought in by Bowles, and Bowles doesn't want turnovers, and he wants a good, strong run game. Those are the two requirements. So Canales is going to do that. Those are the two things he's looking at.
I've got PTSD from turnovers. I agree. Let's just...
Ever since the Jameis.
Ever since Jameis. Yeah. Is there any greater measure of a quarterback than interceptions?
Yes, right.
It's a reflection of intelligence, their football intelligence, how they're reading decision making, how they're reading the field, how you perform under pressure, how you recover from an interception after. So, it's one metric. We're not huge on stats, but it is a good metric for quarterbacks'
a whole team
wherewithal.
The whole team's success hinges a lot on turnovers, and quarterbacks are the big turnover machines usually. So Baker Mayfield has thrown a lot more turnovers during practice, so that's given Trask the opportunity to really compete because he hasn't thrown a whole lot of turnovers. But in the preseason game, Mayfield didn't throw any turnovers. Trask did.
Yeah. Well, and I think Mayfield had an issue with turnovers at Cleveland. So that was and everyone said, oh, he had that shoulder injury. And so that might have been it, but we'll see.
Now, I watched a little bit of game film on Mayfield, not a whole lot, but I saw he's got horrible mechanics. And I've been going through the all 22 from the Steelers preseason game, which if you want to watch that, I've been doing it live on YouTube. So I got 2 hours worth of me just going through. We've gotten through the first quarter. So if you want to watch that, it's on YouTube. But I didn't look at the mechanics with Mayfield with that. I was too busy looking at the offensive line and the running scheme and all that good stuff. We didn't do a lot of Mayfield standing in the pocket throwing. When he did throw, it was a lot of bootlegs.
Well, isn't he kind of a runner too? Like he's a flighty, not someone who hangs out in the pocket.
Yes, we're definitely using him that way too, which is good. Because if that's where, he excels at, then that's fine.
I guess. I mean, it's...
Right, I'm not
again, Jameis Winston... Right? Yeah. Haven't we had enough of that?
Well, Jameis Winston wasn't supposed to run outside the pocket. That was the problem with him.
I saw another one of his training videos, and I'm just like, ugh.
Him with those weird training.
He practices like that. Like, he trains them.
Yes. Yeah, he trains
It's on purpose.
Run out of the pocket when he's not supposed to.
Anyway.
So we've had a lot of movement. Our offensive line is totally shifted around. We've got Tristan Wirfs has gone from right tackle to left tackle. We've got Filer. We got from the Chargers. We put him in at left guard. Jensen, we're not sure if he's going to be coming back at the beginning of the season. So we've got Hainsey. Yeah, it's up in the air. He hasn't practiced, did he? Not drills, not
like
contact.
Anything.
No contact. We've got the new guy Cody Mock at right guard, and then currently we have Gadeke at right tackle. Gadeke. So
is that permanent?
We don't know.
Oh, no.
We don't know. That he played just about the whole first part of the preseason game, so they're still looking at him. So I wouldn't say it's permanent. Now we had in the preseason game, Hainsey and Cody Mock. The right side of the line was what we might see starting the season, but the left side we had Stinney and Skule, Skule at left tackle. We didn't have Wirfs in there, so we didn't see our offensive line that we're going to have week one. So our offensive line we don't know anything about how good it's going to be. But looking at the running game in all 22 with our second stringers and some of our first string offensive line guys, it looked good to me. I was happy with it, because we're doing all that zone running and they seem to have it down. And it's a lot easier too to block that away. So we lost guard Shaq Mason. He signed a 3-year deal with the Texans, $22 million guaranteed, $10 million signing bonus. Wow. That's pretty good, but the Texans suck. So he started all 17 games last season for us, and he's one of the highest paid guards in the NFL now.
Wow,
isn't that neat? You like to see that. We've got quarterback John Wolford. He signed a $1 million minimum with us. So he's our third string quarterback now. Canales really likes him.
I mean, he was solid for the Rams. Wasn't it the Rams he played with?
Yes.
And, I mean, he came in quite a few times and carried games. So I'm happy with that. It sure beats Blaine Gabbert. Yes,
if you want to look at our offense, look at the Rams. That's what we're emulating. Canales has said it many a times, and he's pulling people from the Rams.
Yeah, so, I mean, Baker and Wolford both came from the Rams.
Yes, and I think is it our quarterback coach or wide receivers coach? Can't remember. He was a coach at the Rams. So, Canales has said many a times that if you want to look at our offense, look at the Rams. That's what we're copying. And it makes sense because they beat our butts. They beat Todd Bowles, our defense, ever since Todd Bowles has been here. Mm-hmm. And so Todd Bowles is like, all right, we're going to do that offense because it's beating us.
It works.
Yes. And, Todd Bowles it's a very strange thing. He's been in the league for, forever. He was a player and he was a coach. But when he needed an offensive coordinator, he didn't have anybody lined up. He goes and he gets this unknown guy who he's never played. And that's very strange to me.
Yeah, the NFL is all about networking. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at BA. Everyone that he brought in, he knew they went way back.
Yeah. So it's very strange to not have that. Todd Bowles is he doesn't have coaches that he's played with or coached with for years and years and years. And it makes you wonder, do people like him? Is he a people person?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The players like him.
Yeah, do they? I don't know.
They say they do.
Yeah, of course they're going to. Who's going to say, I hate my coach?
Well, people were coming out about Bieniemy in Washington.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Which you knew that was going to be a desk. Man, Washington, what a mess they got going on over there.
Always. They're in a perpetual state. They thought getting rid of Dan Snyder was going to fix it.
No.
Sorry,
well,
guys.
have you heard now there's a group of Native Americans who want them to bring the name back of the Redskins, which I think that would be hilarious if they did that. It's like they did it just to get rid of Dan Snyder. Now that they got rid of Dan Snyder, it's like, let's go ahead and bring the
Well,
the
I
Redskins
thought they were
over
having
there.
issues with the Commander's name, like somebody else trademarked it.
Wouldn't surprise me.
We should have. It's smart.
What a mess.
Well, it's a terrible name, too. It
is.
The commies. That's what I call them.
Yeah. The Buccaneers, we're only favored to win a single game this year.
Oh, no.
And it's against the Panthers, week 13.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, we're back to the basement. I mean, not that we're going to lose, but it's just... After, it's like eating filet mignon for years and then going back to Golden Corral.
or canned Spam.
Yeah.
It is. It's just such a fall from grace, man.
Oh, man.
And, you've got the hopium. We're excited about the new offense and all that. But, man, no, it's not. We'll be lucky if we have a winning record. We'll be lucky. We'll be extremely lucky if we win the division. But that's only because our division sucks. I think everybody in our division has got new quarterbacks, all right? Mm-hmm. New systems, new coaches. And this is coming from our division was the strongest division for a decade. We had Drew Brees, Cam Newton, Matt Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Buccaneers that were trying out quarterbacks all the dang time. And then we thought we were doing something when we got Winston. But, that was a strong division quarterback-wise for a decade.
Yeah.
And now it's just a mess.
It's a new era.
It's a new era of garbage.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get excited. You got the hopium, though. It's always and we'll see how long that lasts. 5 weeks in. If Baker Mayfield gets a starting job and we start turning the ball over and sucking, Dan Canales is going to be getting all snippy in the press conferences. Baker Mayfield will be, benched.
That's what I hate about the quarterback competition is the constant yo-yo. And it's like a guy might win the starting job, but 5 weeks in, we might be doing the same thing again. And I think it's a complete disservice, not just to the quarterback, but to the team as a whole. And I hate that. I hate it. It sucks for everyone, especially because we're going to have to watch, or if we're losing, that sucks as a fan. And then you get all the negativity in the fan base and the media. And, it just... My expectations are low.
I know.
And I'm depressed about it.
Especially after 4 years, really, if you look back to 2019 with 3 years of just, national media spotlight, excitement. I mean, we brought Tom Brady in. Well, first we brought Bruce Arians in with all his fantastic coaching staff. And it was like that was going to change Jameis Winston, and he just couldn't get out of his habits. Mm-hmm. Then we brought in Tom Brady and Gronkowski, and we got Antonio Brown. And we had all these players that were wanting to come play with us, and we were just loading up in the media, and it was just Buccaneers 24/7 everywhere all the time. And now here we are. We've got a coach who puts you to sleep listening to him. We've got no new free agents coming. Mm-hmm. We've got our draft picks are, Cody Mock, little bit of excitement there, but everybody else, you're kind of like, who, what? Mm-hmm. And no national media whatsoever. The only thing you're hearing from the national media is how bad we're going to suck. We're only favored to win in one game, and that's against the lowly Panthers.
I wonder if that's the new model for teams, because after we did that with Tom Brady, the Rams did it. They won the Super Bowl. Now we're seeing it at the Jets. You know, they're bringing in Aaron Rodgers. They're signing all these big free agents. I mean, they just got Dalvin Cook. Everyone wants to go play there with Aaron Rodgers. So it seems like we kind of started a trend in the league.
Yeah. Hey, I'll take it. Be a trendsetter. We've done that a lot in the league. You know, I mean, Tampa 2, right there, just that. You know, how it transformed the league. So, you know, and we've got a few things that have happened. You know, we got Cody Mauch, which, you know, he was a little bit of excitement. But we also got Kurt Warner's son. You know, as soon as the draft was over, we signed Warner's son as an undrafted free agent deal with the Bucs. And that's brought some, you know, a little bit of fun. And he played in the Steelers game, the preseason game in Tampa. Kurt Warner, was it his last game? No, I don't think it was. But he played the Super Bowl against the Steelers in Tampa. And he was there for the to watch his son play his first NFL game. So that's really neat.
Yeah.
You know.
NFL legend.
Yes. Which I hated him. because of that damn championship game where they beat us. Oh man, that was a great game, though. Great game. So the Bucs media and sports media in general, they love human interest stories. So they talk about Cody Mauch and they talk about Warner and all that good stuff. So get a little bit of attention there with that.
But not nearly what we were. Like the national people, I'm sure, are nowhere near the Bucs facility at this point. Like we used to get the big names that were coming to the press conferences.
Now we get like four.
No, we get nobody.
4 journalists out there.
Right.
You know, and 3 of them are from JoeBucksFan.com.
Yeah,
so.
I know.
It's fun. I love those guys because one of the reasons is because when they ask a question, I can tell who they are because they all have such distinct voices. You know, especially Ira Kaufman. You know, when he asks a question, you know it's Ira Kaufman. So that's always helpful.
Well, and they do have, when they're answering the coaches or the players, they do have kind of a reverence for him. They will call him Sage. And
yeah. God, he's been doing it for so long. Yeah, and he's good at it. He's entertaining.
Yeah.
He's very entertaining. So, you know, back to Todd Bowles. Did you know he ended up getting his college degree this year, May 13th? He completed his coursework in September of last year. Very interesting with that. He ended up missing the second day of Buccaneers rookie minicamp to attend the ceremony for his graduation. He earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Youth and Community Development. So interesting about this, he was working towards his degree last year when he was a head coach. Now, the amount of off-field crap that we had that ruined this team last year, which I believe that's honestly what took this team down, was just incredible. I mean, you had Brady's divorce, you had the FTX scandal, which, you know, involved Brady, and I think my own speculation is quite a few teammates, you know, they probably got involved with the FTX stuff too because of Brady. You had Kate Otten's mother passing. You had Devin White's father going to jail and then him dying in custody. You had Stinnie hurt in training camp. You had Gronkowski retiring. You had Marpet retiring. You had Sue leaving. You had JPP gone. You had Jensen getting hurt. You had Gotteke starting at right guard and then him losing that battle. And then
Donovan Smith had something going on.
Donovan Smith had some personal issues going on, which we still don't know what that was. He ended up getting cut, get signed immediately to the Chiefs as a starter. You had injuries to Cam Brate, Julio Jones, Shaq Barrett. We had a lot of stuff last year. And then to throw this in, I did not know this, that our head coach was doing coursework and earning his degree. That's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it just makes you go, because I felt like Todd Bowles was the reason for our failure last year because there was so much off the field stuff. And I don't think he handled the on the field stuff, the injuries and stuff very well. He definitely didn't handle the off the field stuff because the team itself just collapsed all across the board. Special teams did bad. Defense did bad. They took a step backwards. The offense did horrible. And, everybody's excited about us getting a new offense coordinator and getting rid of Leftwich, which it was probably a good idea, but I don't think it's going to solve our problems. And to find out that the head coach was not focused on the team 100%, he was doing his degree. I was like, that just throws a bunch into the mix there. And I'm like, man, Todd Bowles, you got to step it up, dude. You got to this year. You can't be, letting things slide like you did last year. You can't be focusing on anything else, man. We got to win. We got to see a lot of improvement with this team this year. And, one thing is a lot of the teams are going towards more analytics. They got analytic departments.
Clipboard carriers.
Clipboard carriers, yes. Which is good. It's changing the sport, which is going to mess up their analytics. It's one of the things that stats people, they don't really take into consideration that just their involvement in sports changes stats. Like analytics going forward on fourth down in this spot and all that, they look at it as, well, in historically, if you go forward on fourth down when you're on the opponent's 40-yard line, you have this much chance of success and you're going to increase your chance of getting points and all that. That's fine when nobody's doing it. And it's very rarely done. But when everybody starts doing it because of analytics, it changes the analytics. Yeah. So it's kind of like quantum physics. If you're observing something, it changes the outcome of the just by observing and measuring changes the outcome. And that's how analytics are. But we do not have a big analytics department. The teams with the most analytics are the Browns, which they're way up there. The Ravens, the Eagles, the Bills, Vikings, Chargers, Rams. Those are the big analytic teams. The Browns are the most analytical, and the analytics guys are in the headset of the coaches now. They're actually in there saying, hey, do this. Analytics says this. Analytics says that. And analytics guys are saying, this is funny, they're saying that momentum is a thing. They all say that. But it's not showing up.
Anyone who watched the Bucs with Jameis Winston understands that.
Yes. Right. Yes.
I mean, he was to me, the king of momentum, both as a momentum killer and he could just completely turn a game around for the better with a good play or a good series.
But analytics is supposed to be based all on numbers and stats. But they all say, all the analytics guys say that momentum is a real thing, but you can't see it in the stats. There's no stat for momentum, but they're all very much momentum is a real thing.
So when there's momentum, do you just ignore the analytics?
Right. I mean, they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot there.
Or do you trust the analytics more? Like you have the momentum on your side. If you have the ball at your 40 on fourth down, you should definitely go for it when the momentum's in your favor because you're more likely to get it, or it's good from an analytical standpoint to go for it anyway. And now that you have momentum, it's even more reason to go for it.
Yes. It's a conundrum they're in, and they all admit it.
That's interesting. But those teams that you mentioned that are the most analytical, I mean, they're good teams. And to me, I kind of hear that and I'm like, I'm going to poo-poo the analytics we do.
I mean, it's got its place. It's a tool.
It does. But I would trust like someone who has been in the league for 50 years.
Yeah, I trust
the analytics.
Yeah.
But that says differently.
Yeah. Right. But the Bucs don't have an analytics department.
Well, Todd Bowles is an old school coach.
Right. We're one of the few teams that doesn't. We throw some analytics in there, and Canales has sort of hinted at that, he relies on analytics a bit more than the previous regimes. But we do not have an analytics department like these guys do. I mean, there's a whole industry developing around the NFL this happens all the time. There's been a lot of industries that have popped up around the NFL. The medical industry, you got analytics, fantasy football. Fantasy football actually makes more money than the NFL itself. So now you've got the gambling industry. It's huge. ESPN just signed a contract with a gambling company, which is bad. I do not know how that's even legal. That you've got a media company whose business is football or sports, signing a contract with a gambling company. It's just insane what's happening with the gambling. I mean, look at the college sports. Look at what's happening with the NFL. Guys are getting fined, suspended. Coaching or reffing is going to get hit. There's going to be a huge scandal with it, I'm telling you. So analytics is becoming a huge industry around the NFL, and I don't know how long it's going to be before the Bucs pick up on it. But one of the things that these guys said, there was a great article about the analytics departments across the NFL. But one of the things these guys said is that safety is the hardest position to evaluate, while edge rushers and running backs are the easiest. A lot of that has to do with the fact that you don't know what plays are being called. With running backs and edge rushers, you can kind of tell they really have like one job, so you can tell safety's got a lot of jobs. And it's interesting that it's hard to evaluate safeties, and people don't put a whole lot of, value into safeties. And running backs are not being valued a lot now. There's big push, big outcry over how running backs are being treated now.
Cry more.
Yeah. Zeke Elliott's gone. He left Dallas.
He went to the Patriots, right?
Is it the Patriots?
I think so. What were you saying? I had a thought and it left me.
The safeties are the hardest players to evaluate.
I wonder if that's because Pro Football Focus uses the broadcast version. You can't even see the safeties. Maybe that's why.
Yeah. And it's really hard to tell if you do not know the play that's called.
Yeah.
You don't know what the safety's responsibility is.
Yeah.
With defensive ends and running backs, you can kind of just tell by what they're doing.
The safety is often on cleanup. The rest of the defense screwed up, and he shouldn't have even been in the play. Right. So it can make him look bad.
Right, yeah. If you have a good defense, your safety isn't used a whole lot.
Yeah, right.
If your safety's making a lot of tackles, you got a problem. You might have a good safety, but you got a problem with the rest of your defense. We've lost some other players. Wide receiver Tyler Johnson. I was talking about Shaq Mason. He's gone. Tyler Johnson, Rams have signed him. Jannard Avery, Colts signed him. That's a shame. I liked him. Brashard Perriman, Colts signed him as well.
Oh, I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, cool. Which is a shame. I liked Brashard Perriman.
Me too.
And the Bucs waived kicker Jake Verity. That was a long time ago stuff. So.
Today, so we're practicing with the Jets, and Russell Gage has gone down apparently, and national reporters are saying that it's a season-ending injury. It's very serious. So I don't know. He was carted off.
Dang it.
And distressed.
Dang it.
I know.
He played a lot in that preseason game. He played the whole first quarter pretty much. So
I feel like receiver is an easier position to replace.
Yeah.
I mean, we had success with people like Cyril Grayson, Tyler Johnson. I mean, a whole slew of them where they weren't starters, but when we lost starters, they performed very well. So
yes, and as opposed to our previous offenses where it's very complex for our receivers, this offense, from what I can tell and what Canales has said, is very easy for offenses. Especially quarterbacks. It's a very quarterback-friendly offensive system. Wide receivers, we line up in a lot of different formations, but we run a lot of the same routes. So you don't have to learn a whole lot. There's not a bunch of options as far as what the wide receivers, have to read the defenders to base their routes on. There's not a whole lot of that. So I think we'll be able to plug and play wide receivers more in this offense than we were able to in the last offense. So. I'm trying to zip through as much news as we can because there's been a lot of stuff that we've been quite a while since we've done podcasts.
I don't know what we did last.
Speaking of injury, Antoine Winfield has already missed 6 games in 3 years due to injury. So
these guys aren't made the same way. I mean, our whole secondary has missed so much.
Yeah, this is true. I think that, players now, and plus the NFL focuses so much more on injuries that, if you think about injuries a lot, you're going to get more injuries. And plus, if you get a little tweak, then you sit out for 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
I've wanted to look at, are injuries becoming less frequent or more frequent because of all the focus on injuries, medical? I would really like to see somebody do an analysis on that because it seems like players are staying out of more games now per year than they used to. Like Warren Sapp, Jerry Rice, Tom Brady, Derek Brooks, John Lynch, Rondé Barber, Jim Brown. These guys didn't miss games. They stayed in even if they were hurt. Now players are. It's not unusual for players to miss 3-6 games a year, the newer guys,
Well, I think it's the staff, I think, is trying to be more cautious.
Yeah.
I think they're encouraged to err on the side of caution and let them rest.
Yes. Bucs have 3 male cheerleaders now. I was pointing out the cheerleaders to my daughter when we were watching the preseason game, and she said, "Is that a dude? Is that a guy?" I was like, "Yeah, we got 3 of them."
I mean, I don't have an issue with male cheerleaders when it's like they're the base. They're the ones throwing the girls up in the air, but that's not how they do it.
No,
anymore.
they're
just
they're
doing
sexy
the
dancing.
same. Yeah, they're doing the same things that the women are doing.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yes. Let me see. We've got NFL gambling rules. Been a lot of rule changes with the NFL this year, but we got NFL gambling rules for 2023. Speaking of gambling,
so many people have gotten popped this season for stuff they did last year.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be.
Which I'm like, that's, to me, were there rules in place that were clear? You know what I mean? Like, the gambling is such a new thing, and then they're retroactively punishing people.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that it squares with me.
And the gambling rules were kind of vague previously, so, but now they're trying to get it more specific and all this good stuff. So
it's like guys were popped for gambling on other sports, but they were on facility grounds. So basically, they used their cell phone and put in a transaction.
Right. Which, how do you even find that out?
How do you find that out?
Yeah.
I know. And then others, I understand getting popped for betting on games. Like, that's a problem.
Right.
NFL games, I think that's a problem. But I don't know. The whole thing's a mess.
It is going to be a mess. It really is. So the gambling rules for 2023 so far, here's some of the tidbits. If a player uses his own name on a gambling app, the NFL will be alerted by it. New rule, rookies must go through a mandatory training about the gambling policy.
Why just rookies?
Yeah,
like, all of them should be.
There's no carve-out for Vegas players. Insider information is going to be huge. Nearly unstoppable problem with the NFL and gambling. A lot of these guys are going to be selling insider information. I can see it happening.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a good... Well, and, it's like Congress wants to stop their spouses from gambling in their name.
Or relatives.
Mm-hmm.
You got a brother who's close to you, like Mahomes' brother. You ain't going to tell me he's not going to be selling information about what's happening with the team, or gambling himself. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. The NFLPA has a new executive director. Lloyd Howe is replacing Damari Smith, who is retiring.
Was he a player?
No. He was an executive director at some place. He's a finance guy, from what I could tell.
Wow.
The sources have told media that NFL players were in the dark about the process of selecting this guy. They didn't even know what was going on.
Aren't unions just the worst?
Yeah.
Is this any different than any other union, really?
Right. So the search was it lasted several months, conducted by an 11-member committee by the NFL Players Association, the union's executive officers. So that's interesting. This guy's got an MBA from Harvard Business School, so he's one of the elite. He had graduated from the University of Pennsylvania previously, a bunch of leadership roles, treasurer at Booz Allen Hamilton. That's a cybersecurity company. So this guy's about the money.
Yeah.
Let's see. So the preseason game, what do you think about it? You watched it. We didn't take any notes.
Preseason's so ugly and boring.
You got to be a diehard.
You don't see any of your starters, so it's not a good indication of how your team is going to be. And again, the league has not quite adjusted from going from the 4 games to the 3 games. So, when there were 4 games, you knew the 3rd game you were going to get to see your starters. Now I'm like, I don't know when we're going to get to see them. Yeah. If we are, yes. I don't know. And I don't think we didn't look great. I don't know. It's just ugly.
Yes.
It's just, it's hard to gauge.
We had a lot of penalties. A lot of them were on the offensive coordinator for...
the illegal formations.
Illegal formations, yes. He's got to get his guys straight on that stuff. But you kind of expect that, having a new offensive coordinator, new offensive line, new wide receivers. We got new everything all the way around, and these guys are trying to work together. It was ugly, I thought, but we did have some good plays. What's his name? Zion McCullum.
Mm-hmm.
He screwed up a lot, but then he made some spectacular plays. He's one of those dynamic players, man.
Yeah, maybe there's a trade-off with him. Yes. You're either going to love him or hate him.
Yeah, you get the good and the ugly with him. There's no mediocre with that guy.
He's one of those COVID players.
Yeah.
In the COVID class, so.
Yep. I liked Yaya Diaby, was that his name? I liked him. He reminds me of JPP in the sense he's got the same build and
long arms,
very long arms, and he kind of has the same style of play. He's got a motor on him. He plays very aggressive, But I haven't gone through all the footage with him. It's only been a couple plays that I saw where he was like that. Let me see. Cam Gill, I liked seeing him out there. He had some good plays. I liked our offensive line. I thought they did well with blocking both in the run and pass protection. I saw people complaining about Gedeke, but so far I haven't seen anything on the All-22 that I went, oh my gosh, we need to replace him. Which I thought he did pretty decent at left guard. He was only in, I think, 4 games as starter, maybe 5 games. And we played well. You got to remember the first, I think, 5 games of the season last year, we were looking like we were going to do something. We came out against the Cowboys and really stomped them in week 1. Gedeke had his issues, but I think a lot of that was due to Donovan Smith. Donovan Smith was giving him no help over there. And, Donovan Smith was used to having Ali Marpet there to help Donovan Smith, and there was just a lot of communication issues between those two. Gedeke did have his issues. I thought he was too big to be playing guard. He was a tackle in college, so I think he'll be better at right tackle because he's a big, tall guy.
Okay.
And when you got those guys at guard, I don't like the big, tall guys at guard. I like the smaller, squat guys.
Yeah.
But that's just my own personal
right, like a quarterback has to throw over them.
Yeah.
For one.
There's that. Yeah. And also, it's easier for them to maneuver in that tight space.
Maneuver. The running back situation, I was not. Did Rashad White play?
No.
Okay.
No.
So that explains
We started
some
off
of
with
it.
Keyshawn Vaughn.
Yeah, why?
And then
still.
You're right. And then Chase Edmonds.
That experiment.
Both Chase and Edmonds and Vaughn had some good cuts, in the zone blocking offense. I thought they did really good with the zone blocking. But Chase Edmonds got blown up on pass protection one time. That it was just like, oh, you can't have that. I mean, he got depleted. And he's been in the league too long for that. Yes. I think. Yes, way too long to get blowed up like that. And I just wasn't impressed with either one of them. Chase Edmonds especially. He came out and had a couple of good runs right away, and then after that it was just garbage. Same way with Keyshawn Vaughn, I felt. But again, they're feeling out the new system, and we'll see. Wasn't really impressed with a lot of people though. The Mayfield, I liked his rolling out. But he did leave the pocket a couple times when he didn't feel like he should have. Mm-hmm. Yeah, to me, he gets the happy feet too much. Yes, yeah. But it's interesting seeing we're doing a lot of misdirection on our offense. It's interesting seeing our trick plays. We didn't do a lot of that with Tom Brady because you didn't have to. I feel like we kind of have to when you've got subpar offense, do the trick plays. So it was interesting watching that. Was not impressed with Kyle Trask, but I haven't got to him on the All-22 yet. He just looked kind of like a deer in headlights out there. His ball did have more zip on it, I felt like, than Mayfield's did, but he wasn't making the good decisions. Yeah. It's hard when you get out there and under the lights, and Baker's had the experience for 7-8 years now. It's been that long? Good grief. So. I mean, he played a full rookie contract at the Browns. Did he? Yeah. I think 4 years? At least. 4 or 5 years, and then went to. So maybe this is the 7th year? Maybe it hasn't been that long, has it? Hold on. Look that up. That way. Of course, I think we went through this one time before, and I was like, what? So, I was happy with the offensive line. Running backs, meh. Wide receivers, I thought they did a pretty good job. We had some good blocking in there with them, but okay. He was drafted in 2018. Wait. This will be his 5th year. Okay. Math. Yeah, 5th year. Wow. Is that right? Yeah, 5. This will be his 6th year. Okay, so you were close. You said 7. Yeah. Okay. The wide receivers, I thought they did pretty good. They ran good routes. A couple of them got open. Mayfield didn't see them. That kind of sucked. Tight ends, didn't really see a whole lot with them. It don't look like we're going to be utilizing those guys that much. O'Keefe had a reception attempt, right? And it went off his hand. Or, something. He messed up. On a reception. Defensive line, I did not see pressure like I wanted to with those guys. Again, that was an issue we had last year. The cornerbacks, not impressed with them at all. It just was. They looked a lot kind of lost out there. Safeties, we rotated those guys so much I couldn't get a beat on who was supposed to be out there doing what. That number is 16. He had a couple of plays that were one like sticking the arm out trying to tackle somebody with an arm. Yeah, he was our. They were like, come on. He was our rookie cornerback, Keenan Isaac. Not impressed with him at all. And we had a safety, who was it? Nolan Turner, who totally whiffed on a tackle, got juked out for a touchdown. So, wasn't impressed with a lot of these guys. And it's not like the Pittsburgh Steelers were out there playing their first stringers. So, we're going to have to step it up. We got to see a lot more good stuff week 2. Week 2, Kyle Trask will probably be the starter. That'll be interesting. So, and that's coming up Saturday, 6:00 against the Jets.
against the Jets.
Which
and we're doing joint practices.
Yes, and we're doing a lot of fighting, apparently.
Apparently.
There's been 3 fights today so far from what I've heard.
Yeah, and it's noon, so.
Yeah. DeMar Dodson, our old defensive tackle, was arrested in Tampa for slapping a woman and then punching her after she hit him. Hate to hear that.
I mean, he shouldn't have had to tell her twice. That's what I'm saying. Only kidding. Domestic violence is not funny.
Yeah, well,
it's funny sometimes.
It is funny sometimes. ESPN laid off a crap ton of people. And it's funny, they laid off all these guys. Keyshawn Johnson, Susie Colbert, who's been with the...
That one's crazy to me.
Yes, 27 years at ESPN. Max Kellerman, wow. Steve Young, Matt Hasselbeck. This is all, ESPN is under Disney, and so they're getting rid of all these people that have been there forever, and then they signed Pat McAfee to this huge contract. So they're replacing all these guys with one person. It's weird. A lot of changes going on, man. Will Gulston, he's re-signed with the Bucs. He played in the preseason game. Got to see him
I'm
out
so
there.
happy.
Yeah, very happy.
That was a late signing.
Very late. Yeah, signed him like a day before preseason or something. It was nuts. But he didn't go out there with the second stringers. He was out there with the third and fourth stringers.
Oh,
yeah.
Meh. I mean, they know we're going to use him.
Yes, which we had 79 out there.
O'Connor. Or
yes.
Nelson.
O'Connor. Yeah. And man, he played great. He put a move on their right guard that he got right by him like this. He was in the backfield for the handoff. He should have had a tackle for a loss, but he ended up missing the tackle. It was a beautiful, beautiful play. I'm gonna highlight that, make a video of it. Aaron Hernandez's brother was arrested for allegedly planning 2 school shootings. That family,
what is wrong with that family?
Is screwed up.
And you can't blame CTE for his, can you?
No.
I mean, stop it. No. Not that you could with Aaron either, but they tried.
Yes. So back to the ESPN, just the news here. ESPN signed a gambling deal with Penn National, who used to own Barstool Sports, but they sold Barstool Sports back to Dave Portnoy for an undisclosed amount. Everybody thinks it was a pittance, like $1, so that they could do this deal with ESPN, which is a $1.5 billion deal with ESPN. They are going to run ESPN's sportsbook app and branding. So it's called ESPN Bet.
Okay, so ESPN is going to handle sports betting?
Yes.
Isn't that a conflict too?
Yes. It's a huge conflict.
I mean, they can influence opinion about, oh, hey, this person's going to do well, this team's going to do well.
Yes. And I think it's one of the reasons why they got rid of all the old school people, because they're going to bring in new people who are okay with that. So I wouldn't trust ESPN as far as I could throw.
Not that we did before.
Not that we did before, but, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly.
What a mess.
It's a mess. Yes. So, got the game coming up, preseason game 2. Still going.
I wonder if Aaron Rodgers is going to play.
I doubt it. Very seriously. If he does, it'll just be a couple plays. One series, maybe.
Get Vita Vea out there. Who was it that gave... It was Mike Edwards that gave him a hard time, right? Picked him off.
Yes.
We don't have him anymore. Yeah. Pity.
I know. It's weird. It's weird the guys we get rid of and the guys we keep sometimes. I do not understand it. But it is what it is. So we got the preseason game 2 coming up Saturday. We will get a podcast out on our thoughts on that afterwards. We are going, or I'm going through the All 22 on YouTube, doing it live. I will start that back up tomorrow. I have to change the brakes and the rotor on Molly's car. So I'll probably be greasy and sweaty when I'm doing the All 22. That's going to be at 6 p.m. tomorrow. So go to YouTube and watch it if you would like.
That's the 17th.
That's Eastern Standard Time too. So anything else, Molly?
I don't think so.
Guys, it's great to be back. I really miss doing this. And I appreciate everybody sending us well wishes and wanting us to get back on. It does mean a lot to us. So, till next time.
Go Bucs.